Right, hi guys. Back again. Now, since the last film I took, I've been doing a little bit of work on this, and I've realised it's going to be necessary for me to do the detail work, all these little parts, because the more reference points you got, like front of these, this thing, the slots, whatever, the more you can make it match the actual drawing. Because I just tried something which was advancing the actual image into the model to see how well they match, and if I put it in, you can see it's not that great. Okay, that top corner there is referenced really well, but that means the bottom down here is way off. Now if I cut this yellow body part out temporarily, you can see there's a big difference from where that should be to there, and the rear slope of this yellow part, the body, is far too great by the looks of it. So that entire area has to be redrawn, make it fit a little bit better. But the main thing is the reference you use from all the individual parts, because as you can see it looks like it's far too short at the moment, but as I adjust things, it'll be a continual process of tightening it up, getting it more to match where it should be, getting everything in proportion in the right positions before I combine everything and start slicing it up into pieces ready to print. This movie will be a lot of little shorts about detailing pieces and any tips and tricks I can pass on. So let's get going. Right, back again guys. Now, as you can see by the green, I'm pretty happy with the shape. Getting this curve, it actually, to get that angle proper, necessitated lifting the base up slightly. So, but because I had to do that, I've had to redraw this front plate, reposition these, all this sort of stuff, messing around. I did get these vents in the right place. I'm really happy about that. It necessitated looking at that again and realising there's a step there, and this angle here is not the same as that angle there. So this has taken about 2 hours, but it's worth it. It's a lot more in proportion. It just means that everything I've done back here, down here, connecting, mating with this part, has got to be repositioned. Back here, you can see it's all sort of higgledy-piggledy and all over the place. So I'm going to have to shorten bits, adjust bits, everything. This part here, this green bit, is the placeholder for the magazine well. So I should get onto that soon too, work out what exactly the shape needs to be, and that'll be dictated by the outside profile of the magazine. So it looks pretty straightforward and boxy, so it shouldn't be that much of a problem. A few details down there, yeah, not that bad actually. I will have to get on with it. I've got a reasonable image there that shows me some of the detail, but yeah, so that'll probably be the next bit. That's a good image there that shows me that step that is there that I thought is, and that plate is part of that. So the way I've got it there is a bit wrong. Go in here and I'll just use the contour tool. Just make a little bit of a bigger contour around it, and I want to go that way, about that far I reckon. Something like that. Yeah, you can see it sticking out there. Pull it out a little bit more like that. That's there. And then we'll stick the magazine placeholder back in place. So that looks, for a quick rough mock-up, it looks close. It's not perfect, but it looks close. So that'll be a bit more refining. That'll probably be a much smaller contour, maybe only 1mm or 2 out of the surface. It just has to be enough that when you paint it, it picks up the edge, and you can bring out the detail with dry brushing or something like that. So that part, oh yeah, that bit there, I will colour in red, so I know I've got to get back to it. Right, hi guys, just working on the magazine. Right, hi guys, just working on the magazine now. And as you can see, we've got an interesting image here. We've got what appears to be a flat, then a step, then a step, then a flat, then a recess, a flat, an angle down, a flat, and an angle down. But that I believe is the back surface. That's on that one. And if we go over to this one, it looks more like a flat, a step, an angle up, a flat, a recess. So I'm just going to use some artistic license here and do what I think will look better. The hardest thing was actually getting this tiny little doodad in and blended with this, but I've got it. The reason for not taking the magazine too literal is because there appears to be all sorts of magazines and all sorts of muzzles. So yeah, I'm just gonna do what I think looks the best. It'll probably be that one. I think that looks pretty cool. The only problem is going to be this little recess, these 3 recesses here, but should be able to work it out one way or the other. So I'll get started with that and get back to you. I've just been working on the magazine, so that's that little bit down there is really complex. The magazine itself is actually not too bad, pretty simple except for these recesses to get in, but that's done. Now as you can see, it's a little bit chunky. Might have to work out a way to thin it down. But what's more important is with everything in place, where they're supposed to be all lined up bits and pieces, you can see how far this is out of alignment at the back, which means there's a crap load of work here to do. I've got to redraw that, I've got to redraw that, which is going to be a murder. Yeah, it's getting there, but it's been a good couple of hours, so I'm going to take a break and I'll get back to you. Right guys, 2 sessions in one day, amazing. After I'd finished earlier, I was still a bit concerned about this area because it's a really strange little junction of shapes and stuff, but I think I finally got it. Except that's sticking out too far for some reason now. Not worried about the inside where everything mates at the moment. I'm just worried about the actual shapes and proportions of everything. So I've got that. I've also put the hole in the centre. I'll just get rid of the old one. So there we have the area where you actually see the breech block. And seeing as that distance there is approximately the same as that distance there, you should be able to get it to cock back. Maybe if I do the model just about that high, I should get it to go back far enough. Now as you can see, that is the top of the magazine there. Magazine's all done. That was quite a fiddly little bit too, especially that bottom part. But still, you know, it's still a case of proportions, making other proportions fit. So the next thing is the scope on the top, because that dictates spaces down here. And then we started a backend here. I got the feeling this is far too small. I'm going to be very tight to adjust that. Okay, so the final finishing of the body is here. The pistol grip, yes, is too wide. It does have a square profile though, it appears from some of the images I've got here. Very sort of flat bevel, but I guess if you just make it thinner, instead of making this from this bevel to the center 5mm, you make it 3mm, and you take 2mm off each side, and that might be enough. That'll just be a matter of some quick experiment. It's not a great issue. Another thing is the color scheme. It seems to be all black, but in recent days online I've seen all sorts of different things. I saw a pink one yesterday, so it's coming along. We're getting there. As you can see, I'm still not going to start cutting holes in everything. They're relatively easy to fix later if they need to be moved. And I've still got to do like the pistol guard and the trigger. Shouldn't be an issue. I like to make the trigger movable. Again, not a great issue. Just been doing a little bit of modelling. trying to get this finished. So I decided to, still trying to get the spacings right here, and I decided to do this little doohickey, whatever it is, laser sight or whatever. You can see it in some of the drawings somewhere. It's around somewhere. There it is. Yeah, so laser sight, gas regulator, I don't know, whatever. I've given up trying to give these things names. So, and from what I've got there, the gap I've got around it, this is either too small or this is too big. So I'm probably going to have to just enlarge this a bit, but then it means redrawing the inner surfaces so it mates with the Picatinny rail. And also on that note, the holes that the Picatinny rails sort of sit in, I've actually beveled the edges so they're not 90 degrees. That is to give stuff more room, what do you call them, the grabbing fingers, the grabbing claws, more room and more space, but also when you 3D print, can handle like a sloped angle better than a 45 degrees, and it doesn't fill it with support filament. So that could be a problem. Now also I've just noticed this thing is in the way of this pipe. So again, I'm going to have to do a lot of replanning. Let's have a look. So that pipe goes underneath. Okay, alright, well that's easy enough to fix. See, that's unless you actually focus on these things straight away and you can take everything in, which I don't think anybody can. The scope is a different one that's pictured in a couple of photos, but this is the image that Matt sent me, so I'm going to make this scope, so don't worry, it's just a placekeeper. Now, what I've discovered, this thing at the front, this red thing, whatever it is, laser sight, I don't know, gas regulator, it's rather big compared to the Picatinny rail. So I'm guessing, I've stuffed up here, these Picatinny rails are too big, which means therefore the body's too big. So I'm just going to shorten it a bit, and I can move everything back the way I've designed it and kept it, all these individual pieces at the moment. So I'll have to do that. And also I think the side ones need to be moved up a bit. There's a little bit too much space there. It's not as much space as you'd think. So that's one issue, but that's all come about because I've been modelling all the little parts. Another issue that means this has to go up is this pipe. As you can see, it goes directly underneath it. There, it's going to hit it. And that, the whole housing there, which I think is still a single unit. Oh great, I've made it a whole thing. Explode. Oh good, yes. So that housing is going to have to be made smaller and pivoted down a bit more so it goes under there. So that shouldn't be a problem, but it's just more work. But really, sometimes it's the only way you can find this out, by putting the different parts in and judging their relationships to each other. So that's where I'm at the moment. Another couple of hours of work that was. Usually the first hour's redoing all the mistakes I did last time. I'll get this movie put together and get it uploaded for part 3. Alright, see you later.